Hello and welcome. What a platform the Values Workshop is turning out to be for me. I get to meet friends whom I have not spoken to in years. I'm lucky to
Yeah.
have with me a friend of mine, Jisha Nair. I welcome Jisha and so glad to see you after a long, long time.
Thank you so much for having me here. And yeah, we've not spoken in a long, long time, and we've not met face to face ever. I mean, the
After the
I
first,
know you through through these value workshops only.
yes. So
Hmm.
before we begin, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. So I am introductions.
Yes.
Yeah. So I am. I work you see this is very confusing, So how do you introduce yourself?
Yeah.
Recently I introduced somebody and I started off by saying ki I am a mother, and it was an interview, a professional interview, and I thought it created a bias in that person's mind. Oh, she's a mummy, she's a mother. So and as things that come with it, that maybe she will need to pay more attention, give more time to home and kids, or and hence she may not be professionally so committed or available. I felt it created a bias. So when you ask me, I'm just wondering, so whatever. So uh, I am mother to a daughter, a lovely daughter. I mean, we are a family of three. We live in Mumbai. I've been here, born and brought up here. And in my professional life, I've been into insurance for about 7 8 years, insurance underwriting. And
Oh,
from there, I took a leap of faith and moved to advertising, because that is something that had fascinated me since long. And I've been into advertising, digital marketing and advertising, since about, I think, 10 11 years now. I'm doing pretty well. And I've just taken a break, sort of, maybe it's like a quarter life crisis. And I've taken a break to kind of sit back and reflect on what am I doing, where am I heading. So that's where I'm right now.
so wonderful. I think you're in the right space. I want to clarify you're already hired. That is why you're a guest. So whether you're a mother or a writer or an insurance person, we just need people who are willing to introspect on camera or sometimes like the earlier series off it also.
Hmm.
Um, but the beauty of what you just said, let's start on that. The vulnerability that we all feel. We have these realities in our heads which we compartmentalize very nicely, that this is the
Hmm.
mother in me, this is the professional in me, these are things that I take for granted, these are things I have to do, these are responsibilities that are presumed by me or the world. Now my
Hmm.
question to you is, well, we fall flat on our faces everywhere, be it professionally or personally. I think we are falling short of this ideal me that the world expects. How do you deal with it? Besides the interview fact, uh, does it sometimes, now that you are also into introspection mode, is it one of the things that what defines me? Is there anything at all? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, to answer the first part where you said, falling flat or falling short on things, I think it happens quite often, whether be it in personal or professional life. So I keep thinking, whether I'm a good daughter, whether I'm a good wife, good mother, a good professional. And I think somewhere more important than all of that is, am I a good human being, and what am I doing to make this world a better place? So yeah, I mean, these are questions that keep coming, not every day, but they keep coming at intervals. And I just introspect. I watch videos, I watch a lot of motivational speakers or spiritual talkers. And then somewhere I get my answer of, it is not bad, or maybe I am short on in some aspect. And then I try to work on that aspect of mine. And try to better myself. So that's my general approach to this. And that feeling of not enough, that is something I've watched enough and more videos about, and I think it's a strong feeling, and it's a pervading feeling which many people have. Sometimes it's professional, sometimes it's personal, sometimes, but the not enough wala feeling, it's a very debilitating feeling, and it's a wrong feeling. You are pretty much enough the way you are. You have a place in the universe, and you have a place in the universe as a mother, as a wife, and you're doing pretty well. I think we just have too high lofty standards, and then we compare ourselves and we make a misery out of it. So otherwise, I think all of us, we are doing pretty reasonably well in our roles.
Okay. One of the thoughts that I have come to a conclusion about of sorts, uh, whether it is through watching videos or reading books, I do not know where this comes from. But the fact that if I'm alive and I'm reasonably healthy, more than that, one shouldn't ask for too many blessings. I think that is good enough for you. That means whether you believe in God or heavens or whatever that is that your belief system is, or if you do not, just the fact that you have the gift of health and your um, each part of your body is functioning to
Hmm.
a good capability, not always 100%, but reasonably well. You are not really bedridden or sick or feeling any kind of physical or physical distress. Actually, mental, I do not want to at this point comment. But
Hmm.
I think that is enough of a gift. After that, you have to learn to work on your mind to change your mindset and start
Hmm.
accepting, keep working. So, do you think? But the reason why I believe this is also because most of the experiences are lived in the mind. So while I may be healthy and alive, sometimes I want to crib about business is bad or this relationship is not working the way I want or somebody is moved on or I am moving on from some relationship or anything depends upon what kind of circumstance we find ourselves in. But all of it I've realized is that you sit down, you take stock, figure out what is your own role in it, and try and be responsible about it. So, what do you have to say about that? Because specifically, the mind is something that is not spoken about it enough. One little part I want to put in here is that you said you watch a lot of videos, read a bit of stuff. A lot of people I find are doing this, but a lot of them do not find them working because when they go down, they just go down. They don't think of the video that they watched. So
Hmm.
I want you to comment on both these things. One is what is your feeling about the mental approach one, and second is how do these videos work for you? What is it that you really do when you watch a video which kind of motivates you or clarifies your own position or whatever?
Yeah, the mental part of it, I think it it is even way more significant than the physical aspect, is what I feel. Especially, in the after the lockdown, because I think people are working remotely, and then you kind of you don't have the physical closeness, otherwise that you've shared, and you don't laugh enough, otherwise what we do when you're, say, having lunch together or cracking, just some nonsense jokes or so that whole experience or that release of hormones, I think those have been compromised when we were working remotely. And I think that's one reason why people, apart from the COVID casualties of near and dear ones, apart from that, I think this is one reason why people, there is this mental health issues that have been arising so in such large proportions. So I and it has also led to that, ma- what is it called, wherein people are the resignation, the great resignation move or something. There's something happening wherein huge number of people in US in particular have resigned from their jobs, citing mental health issues, or maybe realizing that they were not been giving enough time to their families and they need to step back. So I feel mental health and see, to assess anything mentally, you need to be in sound state of mind, you know. So if the mental health is not appropriate, you are not in the right position to judge anything.
Yeah.
And then you might either underestimate things or overestimate things. And even to me, I think professionally, I think it did affect me a lot, because whenever things were not working out, I used to uh, keep wondering, why is it not working, why is it not working, and I used to feel maybe, I am not doing a lot of it right, which could be partially true. But when I spoke to my bosses, and they said, why do you think so, so they said, we don't find that, you are not delivering the way you need to. So maybe they were being supportive, or maybe they were speaking the truth. But it's all in the mind. Like, I could sense a situation and I could evaluate it in a very negatively way and feel very depressed about it, and go down a rabbit hole, never to come back, or find it very difficult to come back up and see light. And somebody who's in a better state of mind might be able to evaluate so I think that the mind game is very, very significant. And even in sports, like, people talk of Captain Cool Dhoni. So I really think about him. When he's going there, maybe to face the last few balls, or the last few overs, I just think about the thing that would be helping him really beyond his skill or beyond his physical memory must be his state of mind, must be the control that he has over his mind. Because otherwise, no matter how good a sportsman you are or a professional you are, if you're not able to control your mind, I think it things flip, and it goes out of control. So mind, but I think it's really important.
Okay.
That's the first.
That was the first one. The second one is now I want to connect a bit of your answer to that question again and rephrase it. So when you watch a video or when you look at a person like Dhoni, who's a good example of, who was a good example of taking care of things better. Um, but see, okay, let me put a actual example to it. Say I'm having a bad day at work or bad day with some other thing or something that I expected hasn't gone according to plan. I have been looking up to Dhoni as well. I have been looking up at videos or my own reading sometimes. It does inspire me. I find, at least within me, I have found that unless I act upon it in a time which is not stressful, it doesn't work when I'm stressful, because I may be inspired in a time where there's nothing to lose. So when I watch Dhoni and I find last over 25 runs required and he looks very cool and he hits five sixes and we are out, and you say, okay, you understand there is other pressure from us, pressure from the board, pressure from the bowler, the actual ground, people on the ground, and his own pressure of delivering again and again, or his image, whatever you want to call it. All of that he keeps aside and he just concentrates on what is there. I understand that. As an intelligent person, I also want to aid that. But unless I take steps on, doing that in at least smaller circumstances where small kind of stress comes, I am unable to do it when the big stress comes. Like suppose some really important aspect where I need to have my mind in control, I find I'm unable to. So I want to now rephrase the question. When you watch these videos, or when you, in fact, you did mention a little bit that you go back to the drawing board and try and come back with a better version of whatever idea you had about some subject. In some other words, you said the same thing. What is it that you actually do? So if you are in a problem, if there is an example that you can remember, it would be very nice for our viewers to understand what goes on in this mind, which well seems calm on camera as of right now, but on a bad day, how do you make it work?
So actually, so the kind of videos that I watch are of various kinds. And sometimes they are, diagnostic, like, are you depressed? Do you have anxiety disorder? So sometimes they are those kinds, and thankfully, my the result is negative so far. Okay, as per that diagnosis.
Yeah.
But a lot of times they are, motivated. Like, for example, 2 days back, I was watching something on Ikigai. I mean, that's some video that I've watched earlier, but I just watched it again. And I don't know. I mean, like for this example, no, Dhoni ka example, or for example, another show that I used to watch a lot is Indian Idol. So I really enjoy watching the singing or dancing oriented shows. So, and I really love the singers then, and so I used to think, while I am appreciating their singing, I think because we are writers, maybe because of that, we always tend to think behind and what goes in people's
Yes.
mind.
Yes.
And so I used to always think, how are they able to perform like this? No matter how good well they are as singers, but with such celebrities sitting in front of them, and with the mounting pressure of winning the title, etc., the money that comes with it, and the fame or opportunities that come with it, so difficult and they're all youngsters. I mean, they are people aged say 18 to 25. So
Yeah.
I'm amazed looking at these youngsters deliver on this. So I keep thinking, and the answer that I feel what they do is, when that moment comes where you deliver, or when I sit with my laptop to write something, I need to really keep aside everything, what my boss might think of this idea, or whether the client will like the idea, or when I show this idea, discuss it with another say art director, will he feel ki, what stupid idea is this, and there's like barely any potential. I mean, all those, and then apart from all the workload that I have, or any other, meetings, or things that I might have to attend, I think when I sit down to do that, I'm not an expert at this yet, but that's what I try and do. I try and keep everything aside, and I say, okay, this is 15 minutes to this, or half an hour to this, or 1 hour to this, and whatever is happening in the rest of the world will keep happening. And I just try, and because I feel that's what these guys do, and because there's no other way of dealing with it, it is too overwhelming. The rest of it is so overwhelming. So I've just found that there's no other way rather than to keep it aside and tell your mind ki none of it exists. Right now this is what you need to do, and all that is like Maya, or it doesn't exist. And then you focus on this. And once this is done, then you bring in another thing, and rest of it again doesn't exist. So it's
I
up
have
to
a
you.
friend whose kid is called Maya. So I think that is a problem.